Good morning, students. Welcome back in your SS class. Student, we have started chapter number 2 of history, that is nationalism in India. And this would be the 6th part of this chapter. In the previous video lecture, we have studied about the civil disobedience movement, in which I have told you that in 1930, this civil disobedience movement, it was started. And in this, you can say that in this movement, means civil disobedience movement, people would not cooperate with the Britishers, and second thing, they would not, they would break the laws also. I have told you this thing, right? But this incident means this movement became violent, and Mahatma Gandhi, he was against violent activities. That's why Mahatma Gandhi withdrew that movement. You can say that, right? We have studied this thing. Means Mahatma Gandhi has had withdrawn the civil disobedience movement. We have studied about this thing. Now, after the civil disobedience movement, there was a Gandhi-Irvin Pact. So we have studied from this, from Gandhi-Irvin Pact, right? If we think about Gandhi-Irvin Pact, this act was passed, and you can see this act was conducted on 5th March 1931, right? This pact was completed, and this pact was signed on 5th March 1931 between Mahatma Gandhi and Viceroy Lord Irwin. Because at that time, the Viceroy of India, it was Lord Irwin. So this pact was signed between Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Irwin. And according to this act, Mahatma Gandhi decided to withdraw the civil disobedience movement. And second thing, Mahatma Gandhi agreed to participate in the second round table conference. Note down, there was a first round table conference in October 1929, but it was refused by Mahatma Gandhi and other Congress leader. But in the second round table conference, which was conducted in the, you can say, in London, so Mahatma Gandhi agreed to participate in the second round table conference, right? So dear student, here I want to tell you one thing, that there was two round table conference, and only one Indian member who participated in both the round table conference, in the first round table conference and in the second round table conference. He was Bhimrao Ambedkar. Bhimrao Ambedkar, he participated in both round table conference, right? But Mahatma Gandhi, he participated only in the second round table conference, which was conducted in 1931, you can say that, right? So Mahatma Gandhi agreed with these 2 points. So second demand means now Mahatma Gandhi demanded that the Britishers would release all the political prisoners. The Britishers would release all the political prisoners who were arrested during the civil disobedience movement. So Mahatma Gandhi demanded this thing, right? So this pact was signed. Now Mahatma Gandhi went to London, and there they demanded many things. Means discussion was there, but nothing, means no demand were accepted. कोई भी demand उनकी accept नहीं की. So that's why Mahatma Gandhi was disappointed, and he returned in India. But whenever he returned in India, he saw a different phase in India. What was the different phase? That British company, it started to arrest all the political leaders of the India. Means all the political leaders, British government, it started to arrest them. Even Ghaffar Khan and Jawaharlal Nehru, they were these 2 persons, they were still in jail, right? And Congress, and any meeting of the Congress, they were declared illegal. Means Congress was declared illegal, and no meeting can be started this thing again. Okay, so when Mahatma Gandhi saw this situation, so Mahatma Gandhi decided to relaunch civil disobedience movement second. That's why Mahatma Gandhi started that in 1932. Mahatma Gandhi decided to relaunch again civil disobedience movement second. But dear student, maximum people did not participate in it. Why did they did not participate in it? Because in the second round table conference, in which Mahatma Gandhi participated, no demand, nothing of their demand, it was put there. उनकी कोई भी demand वहां पर put नहीं की गई. That's why maximum people, they did not participated in the second civil disobedience movement. So that's why in 1934 it was totally removed. In 1934, it was totally removed, right? I hope things are clear to all of you. So let's come to another point. Now, student, let's think about how participants saw the movement. Means different people from different culture, and you can say from different areas, they participated in the civil disobedience movement. Now we have one question, that how different participants they participated in this movement. What their meaning about Swaraj? We have to discuss this thing. This would be the most important question for the board perspective, that give the explanation of the countryside and the villages, how the participants saw the movement of civil disobedience movement. It would be the most important question. So you must be very careful regarding these questions. First of all, let's discuss about the rich peasants. Peasants like Partidars of Gujarat and Jats of UP. Okay? So we will discuss this thing. Now these persons, means these rich peasants, they being a producer of the commercial crop, they were always, you can say, they were hard hit by the trade depression and false price of grains. Means I already told you that from 1929 to 1932, it was the time period when there was a world great economic depression, and because they were the producer of the commercial crop, so the export and you can say the trade, it was totally abolished. It was totally, you can say that ruined. So that's why they were badly hit, right? Second thing, because their trade was not up to the mark, so that's why their income also disappeared. And even they were found themselves that they were not able to pay any revenue. They were found it is very impossible for them to pay any revenue. So that's why they participated in a very enthusiastically in this civil disobedience movement. Means in the first civil disobedience movement. I'm just only discussing about the civil disobedience movement of the first time, not the second, right? So that's why these rich peasants, they participated in a very enthusiastic manner in the civil disobedience movement. Now, there's Swaraj meaning, it was against high revenue. Here, the Swaraj meaning for them, it was the against high revenue. It means they were participating against high revenue. Revenue must be reduced according to them. But my dear student, when the CDM, means civil disobedience movement, it was called off in 1931, and without the revenue rates revised, so they were very disappointed. And when civil disobedience movement second, it was again relaunched, they refused to participate in it, right? So this was the reaction of the rich peasants, how they saw the movement, civil disobedience movement. And what was their meaning of the Swaraj? Their meaning for the Swaraj, it means against high revenue. Means if the revenue is reduced, the Swaraj would come. But in real manner, this was not Swaraj. Swaraj, it means we must be independent. But according to them, these people, they have different motive to participate in civil disobedience movement. Right, friends? Now, next thing, that is poor peasants. Let's discuss about these persons. Now, dear student, if we think about poor peasants, they have small farmers, and you can say some people, they are landless persons. So these small farmers, and you can say these poor peasants, they have to cultivate the land of the landlords. They had to cultivate the land of the landlords. Now, economic depression was there. So the small farmers, they found it difficult to pay any revenue. They found it pay to any revenue. So their demand, it was to cancel their revenue. Note down, rich peasants want that revenue must be reduced. Revenue must be reduced. But poor peasants want that the revenue must be cancelled. The revenue must be cancelled. It was their demand. Now, if they participate in this movement, according to them, their movement, if they are participating in this movement, it means that they are participating against the cancelling of means they want that the revenue must be cancelled. It was their Swaraj meaning, right? Right, students? But my dear student, here I want to tell you one thing, that they started no rent campaign. They started no rent campaign, means these poor peasants, they started no rent campaign, but Congress did not participate in it, and even it did not support this. Now we have one question is here, that why Congress did not participated and you can say support no rent campaign. So dear student, I want to tell you one thing here, that because if they are participating, if they are starting no rent campaign, it means it was against the rich peasants, because they have to pay these revenue to the landlords, not to the government. If they would support, means if Congress would support these peasants, these poor peasants, then the big landlords and the large landlords, they would not help in the civil disobedience movement. So to afraid this thing, when no rent campaign, it was started by the poor peasants. That's why Congress did not participate, support this movement. Great students, I hope this thing is clear to all of you. So that's why Congress did not support it, because this might upset the landlords. So that's why they did not participate in it. I hope the concept of poor peasants, how they saw the movement, it is clear to all of you. Now, the another thing, that is business class. Now let's think about how business class participated in it. Now, dear student, here I want to tell you a thing, that business class during the First World War, they got huge profit. Now, before the First World War, their business was, you can say, in a very bad manner. They did not have any huge profit, but during the First World War, they earned huge profit. Reason is that because during the First World War, all the companies of the European, they were just only participating to create the war-related activities, war-related materials. That's why this was the basic reason. That's why the Indian business class, they earned huge profit during the First World War, right? But the colonial policies restricted their business activities. But after the First World War, whenever the colonial policies again established, they restricted their business activities. So that's why they demanded that such policies must be a form which supported Indian business class. Here, but what does their meaning? Here they wanted that such policies must be set up so that these policies can protect business class of the Indian people, right? So, and even they were also against the import of the foreign goods. If foreign goods was imported, then duties, custom duties must be there. Custom duties must be there. So to protect the interest of the business class, two business councils were formed. The first one is the Indian Industrial Commercial Congress in 1920. And the second one is the Federation of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, that is called FICCI, in 1927, led by G.D. Birla, Purushottam Thakur Das. So these two business classes, these two business councils, they were formed so that the interest of these business class can be protected. Right, students? And even if you think about it, that when civil disobedience movement, it was started, these business class, they gave the financial support to CDM, to civil disobedience movement. Right, students? And even they refused to buy and sell the imported goods. They all did so. According to them, Swaraj here means that no restrictions on the business of the Indian. Whatever the business is done by the Indian people, no restrictions was there. Right? According to them, it was the Swaraj. Right? But dear student, when civil disobedience movement, it was, you can say that withdrawn. And in the second round table conference, their demand was not even described there. So that's why they were very disappointed. And when the second civil disobedience movement, it was launched, they did not participate in it. Right? Now think about the industrial workers. Now, if we think about industrial workers, very few industrial workers participated in civil disobedience movement. Only Nagpur, it was the region where industrial workers participated. And rest of the country, the industrial workers, they did not participate in it. Now, why they did not participate in it? Question arises here. Now, dear student, because business class, they were participating in this movement. If industrial workers participated in this movement, then Congress would support them. If Congress would support them, then business class would not participate in civil disobedience movement. That's why industrial workers. That's why industrial workers, they were not supported by by Congress at any time. This was the basic reasons. So if you think about industrial workers, very few industrial workers, they participated in the civil disobedience movement. Just only Nagpur is the region where industrial workers are participated. And but those who participated in it, they adopted Gandhiji program, like boycott the foreign goods. Those who, wherever any industrial worker who participated in this movement, they all boycotted the foreign goods, right? Now, dear student, Swaraj means for them, it means their wages must be increased and working conditions must be improved. It was their Swaraj meaning, right? But dear student, if they demanded these things, it means they demanded these things from the industrial business class. If Congress would support them, it means that industrial would not like that. So that's why Congress did not support the workers' demand. Right, friends? Also, it is clear to all of you. Now let's think about women. How women participated in it. During the Dandi March, thousands of the women, they participated in it. Even they participated in the protest march also. And there are many women who also manufacture salt in many places of India. And in this situation, many women, they were arrested and they went jail also. They went jail also. And Gandhiji's, it was said by Gandhiji that if they saw service to nation, it was the sacred duty of women. Means just only to you can say that to help in the movement and to participate in the movement, it was their holy duty of the women. But Congress never participated and Congress never support any women so that women can participate in the, you can say that in the public sphere. For getting the right to vote even, they have to struggle a lot. Right, friends? So this was the reaction of the women. Now we are near about at the end of the chapter also. Limitation of the civil disobedience movement. And it is very most important thing. So first limitation, it is that not all the social groups moved by the concept of Swaraj. Means different social group, they participated in it, but the meaning of the Swaraj is different. They were not had the same meaning of the Swaraj. So all the social groups, they moved by the Swaraj, but their meaning was different. Congress, it ignored Dalit people. It ignored Dalit people and you can say depressed class. Reason is that if they supported them, it means conservative high Hindu class, they were against them. That's why Congress did not participate, did not support, you can say, these Dalit people. Right, friends? From mid-1920, Congress was the most visible Hindu Mahasabha. And you can say Hindu dominating party. And it always looked like Hindu Mahasabha. So that's why when Muslim people saw this situation, so they did not also participate in this situation. Even Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he demanded separate electorate in 1930 because he thought that the culture of the Muslim, it was in danger. It was in danger. And I have already told you that industrial workers also did not participate in this movement. So these were the limitations of the civil disobedience movement. The first one is that different social groups, they participated in it, but their meaning of the Swaraj, it was different. The first limitation, it was this. Second thing, Congress ignored Dalit people. So that's why Dalit people did not participate so much. Okay? Why they did not participate, why they did not support Dalit people, it was just only due to the fear of the conservative high Hindu classes. Second thing, after 1920, Congress, it was visible like a Hindu Mahasabha. So that's why Muslim people, they felt alienated from it. So that's why they did not participate in it. Even they demanded the separate electorate in 1930 because they feared that their culture was in danger. And even industrial class, they did not participate in it. You can say that these were the limitations of the civil disobedience movement. Now, it would be the most important thing, Pune Pact. It is most important, student, right? So dear student, let's discuss about Pune Pact. Now dear student, Bhimrao Ambedkar in 1930 he formed a association to protect the interest of the Dalit. It was depressed class association. It was formed in 1930 by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Why it was formed? Because the Dalit people's interest can be protected. That's why this association was formed. Now I have already told you in this video that only Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar he participated in all the roundtable conference. Like in the first roundtable conference, all over India it was boycotted it, but Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar he was participated in it. In the second roundtable conference, Mahatma Gandhi he became the representative of the entire country, but Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar he was the representative of the depressed class association. So these two nominating persons, they went in the second roundtable conference, and in the second roundtable conference there was a clash between Mahatma Gandhi and Bhimrao Ambedkar. Now what was the clash? Because in the second roundtable conference, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar demanded for separate electorate for Dalit. Means election must be separated for the Dalit people. Only Dalit candidate can nominate in the election, and only Dalit people can vote them. So this demand was demanded by in the second roundtable conference by the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, and British accept it at once. एकदम British सरकार ने accept कर लिया, but Gandhi ji opposed it. Why? Because he wanted because if it was decided, it means that Indian society would be divided into two parts, and the struggle for the independence it became slowed down. That's why Mahatma Gandhi opposed it. And even Mahatma Gandhi ने कहा कि he would have fast unto death if his demand was not accepted. So September 1932, Bhimrao Ambedkar was agreed, and the Pune Pact was signed in September 1932, and reserve seats were given to the Dalit people in the provincial and in, you can say, in the central legislative council. But election must be in a general manner. There is only one single election, but some reserve seats would be given to these Dalit people. But there was no separate electorates for Dalit. Right? It was the Pune Pact. I hope this thing is clear to all of you. Now let's discuss another point, sense of collective belongingness. Now we have one question, that how to develop the sense of the collective belongingness. We have this question. In the first chapter, we have seen that there was a different dynasty, and you can say different the people of different follow different cultures. They live in the whole European society. So dear student, I want to tell you one thing there. In India, we have a huge diversity. We had a huge diversity. We have different peoples, like they follow different culture, they follow different religion, even they spoke different languages also. So whenever they participated in this situation, in these movements, they never feel united. So to make them united, struggles were there. And in it, culture played an important role. History, fiction, songs. By these things, if we think about it, by these things, these cultural events made united all the people. That's why these peoples, they felt that this country is theirs, this country hamari hai, and then they participated in these movements, right? Even different symbols were also emerged, like Bharat Mata, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, he made Bharat Mata, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, right? And the national song Vande Mataram, it was also written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, and Anand Mat, जो कि बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय का नोवेल है, उसके अंदर लिखा गया है. And during the Swadeshi movement, and you can say during the old movement, it was sung. हर जगह पर गाया गया. And first time it was sung in 1896, I think so, and yeah, 1894. We will confirm it. So it was first time it was sung, right? And even Indian folklore, it was also decided in which folk songs were seen, जहां पर हम Indian people अपने culture के ऊपर आप कह सकते हो अपने culture के ऊपर proud feel कर सकें. Britishers, they saw Indian, they were backward, and they were incapable to govern themselves. It was said by the Britishers. They always said us that bloody Indian people. They always said this thing. But whenever history was reinterpreted, in which it was seen that we have the capacity, we were capable to govern ourselves. So history were reinterpreted, right? Great achievement by the Indian in the past, it was also told to the people. So in this way, the sense of the collective belongingness, it was created. And this sense of the collective belongingness, due to this thing, many people from different backgrounds that participated in those movements, and at the end means in the 1947 we got independence, right students? So dear student, this thing to all of you, I hope everything is clear to all of you. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, have a nice day.